Hey, that's my cue. We wanted to give people a few minutes to join. I want to welcome you all to our first town hall of the year. I'm Sam Masterson. I serve as the president and CEO for MGFA. And we're so excited to be with you all here tonight. And I certainly want to thank you up front for taking some time out of your evening and joining us to support us in reporting out to you, and certainly for your interest and your curiosity in learning and hearing about what's going on at the organization. We have a very robust agenda tonight. Our theme tonight is all things new at MGFA. Of course, all that we do at the organization is on behalf of the MG community. So we hope that you see yourselves in a lot of these updates, and we hope that you find them to be helpful and purposeful. And I also want to wish you all a happy spring, because the last time we were together, it's kind of like cold. It was winter. I live 20 miles outside of Boston, and I can tell you it was kind of a hard winter and very cold. And I'm happy it's spring, and I know we just came off a holiday season too, so I hope you all had a nice holiday, a safe holiday, and I hope in general that you're certainly keeping safe with your families. So we started these town halls last year. Last year was a time of transition for the organization, a time of involvement, and we were very committed to hosting the town halls. We very much want to keep our community members informed. We want to bring you along on all the things that we're doing, that we're focused on, because everything that we do impacts the community in one way or the other. And there's just so much going on in the space. So this year we are hosting the town halls on a quarterly basis. And as I said, this is our first one of the year, and we're just so glad to be here with you tonight. We've been really looking forward to this. And so we'll do this every 2.5 to 3 months throughout the rest of the year. So I said that we have a robust agenda tonight. Let me just tell you a little bit about what to expect. We're going to talk about advocacy, some of the initiatives that we're focused on currently, certainly ways that you can become involved and be an advocate. Everyone can be an advocate. That's the beauty of advocacy. We're going to talk to you about support groups a little bit. We're going to give you some other program updates. We've got a lot of program updates tonight. It's really exciting. We're going to talk to you about some volunteer leader groups that we've established that we think are just imperative to our mission work and expediting that mission work. So that's really exciting to share with you. And then we're going to talk a little bit about community engagement and development. We've talked a lot about our events in the past and fundraising, but there's just so much more to the umbrella of development and so many different ways to plug in and become involved with the organization on behalf of the community. So it's a robust agenda. It's a nice combination of volunteer leaders and MGFA staff who are going to talk with us here tonight. So I'm really excited about that. And I want to thank our volunteers right off the top for their time and expertise. And with that, I am going to pass it over to our advocacy group, but I do want to share one very quick housekeeping item. And you will notice that we're using a new platform. We're on a webinar platform tonight. And if you have any questions about anything that we're talking about tonight, please feel free to submit those questions to the Q&A box, which can be found at the bottom of your screen. We will have staff monitoring the Q&A box, so please submit your questions there. We'll get to as many questions as we can. If we do not feel that we can get to your question, we will reach out to you so that we can follow up and make sure that you get an answer to it. So please submit those questions there. So I'm going to hand it off to Jenna Mavallo now. Jenna is our Director of Patient Advocacy and Community Engagement. Jenna?
Thanks, Sam. Hi, everyone. Good evening or good afternoon. I'm here tonight with fellow members of the advocacy work group. We have Kim Eldridge and Dr. Charlene Hafer-Macco. We're really excited to be here tonight to give you some updates about the work that's being done through advocacy at the MGFA. I'm going to hand things over to Dr. Macco to talk a little bit about our Rare Across America efforts that took place back in March.
All right, so, okay, great. I was going to introduce those things. So we were very excited to participate in the Rare Across America representing myasthenia gravis. This took place in March. Usually we get to go to DC, but this year with COVID still going full go, we did it virtually. And it actually for those who do have myasthenia, you can log in about 14,000 steps trying to get around DC. So this actually, I think, allows you to be more relaxed and prepared for your visit. We had 10 folks from the MGFA participate, and they were able to talk to both their representatives and senators about things that are very important to us in the rare disease community, which myasthenia falls under. And even though we talked about rare diseases, we were allowed to really support our mission with our legislators. And this will be an ongoing thing. It's not just March. This gives us access across the year. We've made contacts regionally in each of our states. And so we're hoping to, as issues come up, get on the phone and really reach out again. The key legislative asks that we had for the Rare Disease Caucus were severalfold. One, rare diseases actually involve 1 in 10 Americans. And there are about 30 million individuals living in the United States with a rare disease. And it represents about 7,000 diseases, and together, we are very strong and actually have a good voice. And many of the issues are very similar with getting access to medications. The Orphan Drug Act had encouraged pharmaceutical companies to develop drugs for very small patient populations. And many of the things learned in one disease can be applied to others, especially there are many autoimmune diseases. Some of the things that we want to do is also raise public awareness. Jen is going to be talking about the STAT Act, so I'm going to slip right over that one. The other thing we wanted to do was raise awareness for appropriations. And so this was one, developing more therapeutics through the Office of Orphan Product Development. And there are now specific grants to help develop those. There are many of the rare diseases have no ICD-9 code, and the proper ICD-9 code really helps open the door for diagnostic workup and therapeutics to be covered. So this is very important to get a diagnosis. And like many people with MG, the journey can be quite long in getting a diagnosis. Many can take, with a rare disease, up to 16 years. We're hoping with our public awareness that we make the diagnosis of myasthenia much earlier. But many people can end up seeing many specialists and having trials of things that may not be appropriate until we make that good diagnosis. The other thing there is, we're looking for funding for NIH's network of undiagnosed diseases with grant programs to really, I'm thinking sort of in our seronegative population, this is very important in understanding if it isn't myasthenia, then what is it? And really coming to help them find what we need to treat them more appropriately and more aggressively. And then there was also a newborn screening. And for myasthenia, this really is for some of our congenital myasthenic population, making sure that screening, and then once a diagnosis is made, the education of patients, their family, as well as healthcare providers. And one of the other things that I think was very interesting from this rare group was they looked at the economic burden of having a chronic disease and rare disease. And they looked at not only the medical costs, which most of us are aware of, the doctor's visits, the hospitalizations, the medications, but there are also the intangibles of lost work, caregivers needing to step up and help out, and then all of the medical equipment that's needed and to live successfully. And much of that is not covered and comes out of pocket. So it was a really nice survey, and I would love to share that with everyone in our tool up on our web page. So thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to Kim. Or no, turning it to Jenna.
Thank you. So as Dr. Macko was saying, we had a great time advocating for the needs of the rare disease and the MG community at Rare Across America. And one of the exciting outcomes from that week is that the Speeding Therapy Access Act, or STAT Act, was actually introduced. And this was something that we had all been asking for. So I'm going to give you a quick high-level overview of what the STAT Act is and how you can become an advocate with us to help with this important piece of legislation. So it's a bipartisan bill that was created with the input of the rare disease community and other rare disease groups. And basically it's designed to help speed up the access to therapies for the rare disease community. As most MG patients know, there's a limited number of treatment options, and oftentimes we're looking for new and accelerated ways that patients can access therapies. So basically what the STAT Act would do is create a rare disease center of excellence through the US Food and Drug Administration. And this would help to advance some of these regulatory policies that are necessary to be able to move drugs forward and approve therapy for patients, especially those with rare diseases that often fall into a smaller population size than some other medications that are being assessed and treated. So what's really exciting about the STAT Act is that it's been introduced to the House and the Senate. And so what we're asking you all to do and to share with your networks is to contact your members of Congress and ask them to co-sponsor the STAT Act. There's a number of ways this can be done. One of the easiest things you can do is if you go to the MGFA website, we have it on the banner on the home screen. It's on the rotating banner. So if you click there, you can take action right away. And there'll be a link to the Every Life Foundation, who we've partnered with on this important piece. So I really encourage everybody to do that when you have the time. It just takes a couple minutes. The other thing I wanted to just mention about the website is that if you go there and you want to learn more about Rare Across America, there's some wonderful testimonies in a blog from several of the participants. And it's really nice to hear just the way that everybody felt they were able to participate, they were able to share their story, and really advocate and feel like they made a difference. So with that, I'll hand it over to Kim.
All right, thanks, Jenna. That was awesome. We did a lot of great work with the Every Life Foundation on Rare Across America, so thanks for that. So insurance denials. The MG community has been talking and we've been listening. We are aware that there's an apparent uptick in insurance denials for many starting with the new year, and we need to help fix that. And we need to help it, ongoing. We need to give you the tools so that you can advocate for your medications, any treatments or procedures that you may need. Things like insurance formularies change medications from year to year. So something that you were able to get last year, you may not be able to get this year and have it covered. Often patients and sometimes doctors, they just don't know where to go or where to start to get a medication or procedure approved. Off-label use of medications can also be a challenge to get covered by insurance. So I'm extremely excited to share that our advocacy work group is actively working on an insurance denials toolkit. Our team is working with leaders in the community and healthcare to create this single resource kit. The goal of the kit is to be a one-stop shop. It'll be on our website that will include a checklist of steps that you need to start a review or to appeal a denial. Common mistakes such as coding errors that may happen when the doctor's office submits your paperwork. We will have information about those. Just information about the process, form letters that we can offer when possible. Make it easy on your doctor, just sign them and mail them. and a video Q&A session that'll help our MG community take charge and advocate for their treatments that they really need. So I want to take a moment though and thank everybody that is working on this project with us. We've got a number of folks that are really putting in some time on this. And thank you for that. Once we have the toolkit created, we will be able to update it anytime with new information or as new issues come up. So thank you all.
Thanks, Kim. And if you're interested in getting involved with the MGFA advocacy efforts, we welcome you. We're always excited to have more people advocate and participate. If you want to do something real quick and check it off your to-do list, like I said, you can be an advocate right away and ask your representatives to pass the STAT Act. Another thing, there's going to be a lot of awareness opportunities with June Awareness Month, and Mike's going to be speaking to that a little bit later. Also, there's Rare Disease Week, which is going to be hosted via Zoom in July. If that's something you're interested in participating and learning more about, please feel free to give me an email. My information is located right there, and we'll have more details to come with that as well. Thank you. Now I'm going to hand it over to Tova, the Senior Director of Program Management and Education, and she's going to give some high-level updates about MGFA support groups and affinity groups.
Thank you, Jenna. While we have many support groups that are location-based, we have a new exciting version of support groups that I think has come out of the Zoom environment that we're living in. These groups are not based in a particular location, but they will continue to be on Zoom in the future because they will be nationwide. We have a Spanish-speaking group, which is meeting on the fourth Saturday of every month. We also have Maya, the young adults support group that we're now going to be meeting, and they're going to be meeting together as a support group. And we also have Parents of Children with MG. This is a very exciting group that has started, and it's just fantastic. So if anyone has any ideas for groups that they would like to start, please feel free to contact me, because these are really exciting groups that I think will make a big difference in our community. Thank you.
Thanks, Tova. We just want to do a quick plug for everyone too, to let you know that our national conference is coming up. It's going to be held this Sunday through Tuesday. Everybody is invited to attend. If you can stay for the whole thing, we would love that. But if you have to sign in and out, there's going to be sessions held throughout the day. So for more information and to register, you can do that right at the MGFA website. Again, that's going to be on the home banner.
Thanks to all of you. Really appreciate that. Thank you again to our volunteers who took the time tonight to help present, Charlene and Kim. It means so much. Thank you. Now I have the pleasure of introducing Wendy Huff, who is MGFA's Vice President of Programs and Clinical Care. And Wendy is going to be talking to us about those volunteer groups I mentioned earlier in the call, and that we feel really help to move our mission work forward. So we're really excited about that. Wendy?
Thank you, Sam. Thanks, everyone, and good evening and good afternoon, depending on where you are. It's my pleasure to talk to you tonight about the new volunteer leadership structure that you see here on your screens. I want to share the work that's been done with the MGFA advisory councils, the advisory boards, and all the networks. It's a very, very busy and exciting time. Each has been crafted to bridge together the expertise, collaboration, engagement, and connectivity of volunteers in the MG community. This structure was thoroughly developed and thoughtfully developed to leverage really the skills and expertise of our community. There are a number of talents and skill sets that we wanted to lean into to bridge synergies with not only the community, but also with staff. All of this is guided by our new strategic plan. And at this time, I'm going to go through this slide so that I can pivot to some of the work that's being done, and we'll talk about the different groups. Many of you are likely familiar with the MAC, which was established. It actually represents the Medical Advisory Council. I'm new to the community, so I am really having to work on the acronyms. So bear with me. Just to go through some of the responsibilities, the MAC is responsible for the oversight of the Nurses Advisory Board and Allied Health Partners, as well as the Medical and Scientific Advisory Board. Both boards consist of medical professionals who work in collaboration to really discuss, I'd say, diverse knowledge, to work on actionable items and solution-based strategies to improve the MG patient outcomes. So we really lean on these volunteers to provide counsel. You've seen postings about the COVID virus. And so we really look to these volunteers for their time, their energy, as well as their skills to help the community better understand the position that we take on many issues that affect the community. The Nurses Advisory has added a new and important component to its board, and it's called the Allied Health Partners. The Allied Health Partners will consist of much needed therapeutic support to the MG community that include, but are not limited to, occupational therapy, respiratory therapy, speech therapy, and physical therapy. There will be other therapies, but I don't know what those are. We want to be inclusive and to make sure that we have a very, very comprehensive list of resources. So I would invite the community to share their recommendations about other therapies that you might be using, and all the therapies that you feel will meet your needs. So please feel free to reach out and share your suggestions. The leaders of our MAC are Dr. Jeffrey Guptill, whom I know that you guys know around the community. Also is Miss Annette Zempelli, Marcia Lorimer, and Dr. Paul Strump. They're volunteer leaders on our board of directors. Now I'll pivot to the work groups that you see here. The work groups really support the great work of the strategic plan, many objectives and many priorities that meet the needs of the community. The work groups represent here advocacy, education, research, and industry relations, all having different functions, but they all roll up to the strategic plan. The work groups are led by staff and blended with volunteer leaders that address barriers, find opportunities, and increase resources for the MG community. The great news about the work groups and how they're designed is that they will cross-pollinate with the MAC to really achieve the MGFA strategic priorities as well as its deliverables. I'm very excited to introduce to you the new chair who's taken on this, was gracious to take on this new role to chair our research work group, Dr. Richard Nowak. Welcome, Richard. Would you share a few words with us?
Yeah, no, thank you for inviting me. And it's certainly my privilege to chair the research work group for the MGFA. I've been involved in MG research for about a dozen years now, and have had very close interactions with the MGFA, and the support that the MGFA has provided to our patients and clearly moving the research agenda forward has been tremendous. And so, for me, this is really an honor to serve in this capacity and to spend some time providing guidance and advice as to how we can better move the research agenda forward to better care for our patients with myasthenia. So I'll just stop there because I just wanted to provide a brief hello and to provide an introduction to my role as research workgroup chair.
Thank you, Richard. We're so pleased that you're on board and really look forward to working with you. It's really going to be great work together as we serve the community. Okay, so next I'm going to pivot to our awesome networks that represent the MG Friends, Partners in Care, and also our support groups. There is a new Patient Leadership Advisory Council, and it's a real, I would say it's a direct, the genesis and the idea of the council came as direct feedback from the community. Many dialogues throughout the community were shared. There was an array of discussions that really talked a lot about the historical work that the MG community support group leaders, volunteer leaders have done in the community, which really bring us to the organization that we are today. So very, very grateful for those conversations. All of the conversations were very open and honest. Some were difficult, more than others, but all were appreciated for the feedback that was shared. As a direct response, the Patient Leadership Advisory Council was formed and consists of volunteer leaders who represent many facets of the MG community. They kind of touch all areas of the community, be it partners in care, sorry, not partners in care, but support group, leadership, walks, as well as MG Friends, but just kind of all around leadership. And these leaders were recommended by their peers, the staff, and the boards, and they represent a variety of expertise and experience. So the primary role of the Patient Leadership Advisory Council, some of the roles include to prioritize the voice of the MG community, to provide input and needs of the community, share ideas, creativity, and opportunities towards collaboration, and as well as to enhance engagement and collaboration through connectivity. That connectivity will sometimes include staff, external stakeholders, but all stakeholders in the MG community as we all serve those roles. Another very good connection to this council is that they too will cross-pollinate with the MG community, some of the councils that you see here, the work groups. And I'm really looking forward to the path forward and the work that we will all do collectively as a community ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, Dr. Nowak. We really appreciate you joining us tonight, and we certainly appreciate all of the great support that you give to MGFA and to the community in general.
Thank you.
So next, I'm going to hand it over. I feel like there's this virtual mic I'm handing over. I'm going to introduce Mike Antonellis. He is MGFA's Vice President of Marketing Communications, and he's going to talk to us about MG Awareness Month, because just like advocacy, everybody can help with Awareness Month and helping to raise awareness. So take it away, Mike.
Thanks so much, Sam. Everyone, thank you for listening in tonight and this afternoon. Wanted to talk about MG Awareness Month. As we know, June is always Awareness Month every single year. But this year, in 2021, we're actually going to be changing the theme of MG Awareness Month, and we're changing it to MG Action Month. We're turning awareness into action this June because everyone can take action and do a number of different things to build up awareness and to make sure that people are aware of the challenges that folks with MG face. And so we're going to have a number of different campaigns and activities and events occurring in June. And we want to start really talking about it now. We're really excited about it because there are some things that we can start doing now to prepare for June. So I wanted to go over a couple of the cool things that we're going to have going on in June. We're going to have a series of health and wellness demonstrations. So online demonstrations. We'll have a paint and sip night. So we'll be teaching people how to paint, which would be really cool. And we're going to have actual volunteers, folks in the MG community, and they will be, conducting these events, and we'll be attracting people and trying to get people really kind of interested and tapping into their creativity. We're simply showcasing that there are so many talents across the MG community. And a lot of folks really love to cook. They have a number of different recipes that are really dear to them. And so we're going to have a cookbook challenge this year. In June, we'll be asking people to submit some of their favorite recipes. And the recipes that we deem the best, we'll actually create a cookbook. It'll be an MGFA cookbook that we'll have available around the holiday season, which would be really, really cool. So there's a lot of great events and online activities that we'll be driving and conducting in the June timeframe. Of course, we want to light up the world in teal. So we're going to have our global online map like we did last year. So you can take a digital photo of yourself doing something really cool to drive awareness for MG, submit that photo to us, and we'll have a pin in the global map, and we'll show how many people are engaging in awareness activity across the globe. I mean, this is a global effort. We're also going to be working with a number of people in the community to light up buildings and structures around the country. We had a lot of, great light ups last year. We had bridges that were lit up. We had several buildings that were lit up, and we want to try to increase that and get more people involved to call the real estate organizations that manage these structures so that we can get these buildings and structures lit up in teal, which is our color. There'll be a number of different MG community calls to action. Jenna talked about some of the great advocacy work, and Kim and Charlene talked about that. We'll have additional advocacy work. There'll be a lot of things where we'll be able to work with political leaders to drive proclamations for MG Awareness Month in June. We're asking you folks who really know how to write an op-ed, submit those op-eds to the media in your local area, or work with media people, become a PR person for MGFA, and try to get reporters and journalists and editors to write about the challenges of MG. So you can tell your story and you can talk about the challenges of MG to those reporters. We'll have a social media video contest. We're going to have a t-shirt challenge. And we're also going to be working directly with media people. We're trying to challenge the media to find out what they know about myasthenia and have them write about that disease and write about the patients who face MG every single day. We'll have some new creative content that we're pushing out to the entire community, some stress relief items. We have our new blog that we launched just a couple of months ago. So we'll have an expert series, and we'll have a number of infographics as well. Of course, you can help MGFA through donations, through fundraising. Maybe think about creating a community event. The spring and summer are great times to create your own community events or do-it-yourself events in your own neighborhood or in your region. So think about planning those events, and call us here, call Samantha Gardner here at MGFA, and she can help to get those events off and running. We're getting our MG Walks live really soon. So we'll have our MG Walks and we have our birthday fundraiser. So great ways to drive fundraising and try to bring people, your family, your friends, your networks into donations for MGFA to support the MG community. And then certainly reading and sharing, right? So check out our e-newsletter, our monthly e-newsletter that comes out every single month, right? Our insider blog, sharing content on social media. So many of you folks, you're sharing and following MGFA on our social media streams. Read that content, but also share that content with your networks so that we can expose more and more people to all the great programs and support that MGFA provides the MG community. And there's some ways that you can help take action. Again, we're trying to issue a call to action and do everything you can to leverage your creative talents and your passions to try to drive awareness for the MG community. So it can be all these things. It could be media relations. It could be drawing and making signs. It could be creating parades in your network. Anything where you can share those photos and those images, get them to MGFA and we'll post them, work with the media, involve yourself in advocacy, and do a lot of fundraising. So in the next couple of weeks, so probably within the next 2 weeks, we're going to have some guidance opportunities, some sessions, Zoom sessions where we'll teach you how to write an op-ed, how to work with the media, how to work with legislators to drive proclamations for June. So we'll have some of those how-to sessions so that you can begin to work on that stuff now and drive excitement so that when June hits, we're going to have just so much activity. It's going to be so exciting. So thank you all for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for all of those updates. That's a lot, and it's really exciting. I mean, when you see all those slides and you see all those opportunities and ways to engage and have fun. I mean, a lot of that was fun. That's just very exciting. And I saw the way that Mike got a big smile on his face when he talked about the paint and SIP. And I mean, I don't know, maybe part of it might have been the SIP part, but he's an expert painter. He's an accomplished painter. And so when we had an art contest last year, some of you in the community would remember our art contest last year. Boy, do we have some talented community members who just submitted some amazing pieces of art, but Mike himself is a painter. So I'm sure he'll be having a lot of fun with that event. So now we're going to move on to community engagement and development. And I'm going to invite Michael Lifshitz to talk with all of us about the different areas of development that MGFA focuses on. Because as I had said earlier, we've spent a lot of time talking about MG Walks and fundraising, but there's so much more to development. Michael is a board member. He's a longtime board member for MGFA, a longtime supporter of the organization. And he has served as the chair of the MGFA Development Work Group. So Michael, welcome and thank you for being here with us tonight.
It's my pleasure, Sam, and I always love having an opportunity to talk to the MG community about ways that we as an organization are doing our very best to ensure that the dollars available for research and support are there, and also having the opportunity to talk with the MG community about the ways that they themselves can help us achieve our goals. I'm going to speak very briefly because there's still a lot left to do. I was going to give a brief history about how I ended up on the MGFA board, but I see that bullet number 3, if everybody sees what I'm seeing, I don't have myasthenia gravis. I have my father-in-law's younger sister, my mother's younger brother, my first cousin's husband, and another cousin's 13-year-old daughter, all who have MG. So that in itself is reason enough. But to add to that, because of my involvement the last 8 or 9 years, I now have hundreds, if not thousands, of friends in the MG community. So everything I do is not only for my family, it's for all of you. It's amazing the amount of positive change that there has been both in awareness. When I came to MG 8 or 9 years ago, I was often asked, what is myasthenia gravis? I still get the question, but not nearly as frequently. And the fact that we went from an organization who had two major sources of funds, one was a periodic mail appeal, and the other one was our walk program. We have now grown, and I believe somebody else will be speaking about what the future has for MG, but we've now grown into this multifaceted fundraising and development organization where we no longer rely on just one or two streams of income. And that's truly a sign of the maturity and the growth of this organization. And that has a lot to do with the far-sighted thinking of a number of important leaders. You know, as I said, we had walks, and our walks did very well. But in the time that I've been involved, we went from having an external organization helping us facilitate them. We brought them in-house. We brought Sam Gardner on board. We managed to maintain a super high level, not only of the quality of the walks that we run, but the numbers and the dollars that we raise through our walk program, in spite of a major transition. When I came on board, we had no golf program. In the last 3 years, we have 4 years now, we have seen 3 very successful golf outings each year, raising a lot of money. One of them has been funding MG programs for almost 30 years and has raised over $1 million for MG research, MG support. In spite of not having, you know, a great year last year, all 2 of the 3 tournaments managed to come off, managed to raise money, managed to raise awareness, because ultimately everything that we do is about raising both funds and awareness. This doesn't happen in a vacuum. And this happens because people are committed, because they are willing to take themselves out of their comfort zone, to go to their friends, their neighbors, their business associates and say, hey, I'm involved, or I need your help. And this is something we need the community to join us with. It also, so it's not just volunteers, it's also this amazing staff. When I came on board, we had no fundraising staff. We now have an amazing group of professionals that are going to help us as an organization and help the myasthenia gravis community jump into the next half of the 21st century. 21st, yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be able to share all of this with you. And now I'm going to just invite everybody over the next several months, certainly toward the end of the year, to focus your efforts on what you can do to make this our most successful year for fundraising and development. So thanks.
Thank you, Michael. We really appreciate your support and speaking with the community tonight. It's now my pleasure to introduce Phil Harris to you all. Phil is another longtime supporter of MGFA, and he's going to talk to us. We've titled it Make the Cure for MG a Reality. He's going to talk to us about gifting and planned giving. So Phil, thank you and welcome.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Just wanted to get started. Am I controlling these slides?
No, Mike's controlling them. He'll move to the next slide for you.
I got it,
Next
Phil.
slide, please. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to speak, and I know I've only got about 5 or 7 minutes, so I'm just going to touch lightly on these topics here if everyone has some time. But if not, we'll just move on to something that's a little easier to understand. But the reason I do show this slide is because planned giving, and especially in estate planning, can get really complicated. But it is not limited just to the ultra wealthy. Everybody can have an estate plan put in place to support your charitable obligations or your charitable beliefs, not only for MGFA, but for anything that you feel strongly in. And you don't have to spend a lot of money, and you don't have to disenfranchise your heirs. So there's a lot of different solutions. So we're going to touch on just a few of them tonight, and we have a more detailed presentation during the national conference. Slide, please. Now, another reason I had the previous slide on there, it's a little bit of a call to action just to kind of carry on some of the other comments that have been made. As you well know, we've had to spend a lot of money as a government and as a country during the COVID crisis, and also the new infrastructure bill that's coming up and so forth. So taxes are going to come into question regardless of what administration's in office. There has to be a way to pay back the funds that have had to be spent, especially to get us through the crisis we went through last year, and also to maintain a working government. So how you control your taxes is going to become more and more critical. Now, as you see the new tax plan start to unveil, you're going to see a lot of talk aimed at the highest wage earners in the country, also the ultra high net worth, and also corporations. However, there are also things in the new tax bill that we all need to be concerned with. One of them is the potential change in the estate tax exclusion. It used to be that if your estate was just under $12 million, you weren't exposed to the estate tax. However, it is being planned that that number is going to be reduced to $3.5 million, which adds up pretty quick for a lot of Americans. But more importantly, even those that don't hit that $3.5 million point, you take the ordinary guy, and I've got a client that just did this back in 2008, late 2008, and early 2009, was able to scrape up about $10,000 and bought Apple shares, Apple Computer. And those shares have a cost basis of about $5. Now that $10,000 investment, as of yesterday's close, is now worth about $265,000, which is about a $255,000 gain. Somebody has to pay tax on that. And if you're not managing your estate properly, it's either going to be your heirs, or if you had charitable goals, this is one thing that you can gift outright to an organization like MGFA. As you can see in the slide here, an outright stock gift, you're immediately avoiding capital gains tax. Because what we're looking at doing with the new tax law is that your heirs will no longer get a stepped up basis. For example, if you're passing this down through your estate, normally under the present law, your Apple shares would be worth $126 per share. And let's say that at the time of the death, your shares were trading at $125 a share. And then it stepped up to say 127. So you're only going to pay tax on that dollar, or your heirs are, or your estate is. However, if they repeal that, you're going to have to go all the way back to $5 a share. And so somebody's going to pay tax on that $255,000 gain. So it's critically important that a well thought out estate plan, especially to achieve charitable goals, is addressed. And this is something that we can do and help with right here with the staff at MGFA to help eliminate those kind of taxes and still enjoy the tax benefit and give a considerable gift to MGFA or any charitable organization. The other issue that you can look at is what's called the charitable or qualified charitable distribution, wherein if you're at least 70 and a half, you can take your required minimum distribution from your IRA in appreciated stock, and you can gift it directly to MGFA, and you will not have to report that as taxable income on your taxes. It excludes that. So again, you immediately benefit MGFA. You get the tax break that you're looking for, and there is no tax consequence essentially. So these are key items that we're going to have to look at as the tax rules or the tax laws are amended. And as I mentioned, I think we can all agree that taxes are going to have to be looked at, especially in light of what's happened over the last few years. And lastly, if you'll see there, the donor advised fund. This is designed, especially in our current tax situation and potential tax situations that we're looking at, wherein you can make charitable gifts and bunch them. You can take, let's say, the $15,000 exclusion for gifting. You could do 3, 4, or 5 years worth of those at one time to get the maximum tax exclusion. And as I mentioned before, tax planning is going to become more and more prevalent as we proceed and as we come out of COVID and as we try to address how we pay down the national debt. Slide, please. But first things first, if you go to the MGFA website and you tab over to get involved, tab down to planned giving, you will see a great resource for helping you get started with your estate planning. The first one, and as a financial practitioner, I implore you that you have a will. Everyone should have a will. Even if you're not planning on giving to charities, you have to have a will. Something that is telling, legal document that is telling everyone what you want done with your estate. Now, if you choose to include MGFA in your will as a general bequest, you can see right there, you can download the bequest language that if you're doing it yourself online, just make sure you're using a reputable site. It has the actual language that you can use and put into your will to have the bequest made. You can also print that off and give it to your attorney or any other advisor that's helping you with that. The second area you'll see there is beneficiary gifts. Now, we're going to talk about this in more detail during the national conference, but this is an incredibly effective strategy, not only to manage your taxes and your estate, but to give a sizable contribution to MGFA or any charitable organization that you're looking at, or multiple charitable organizations, and at the same time, not disenfranchise your heirs. A lot of folks that I deal with, said, Phil, I want to give, I believe in my church, my fraternity, my alma mater, and MGFA. I'm a perfect example of that. I have a lot of different causes, and until I was diagnosed with generalized MGFA, I really didn't have a reason to be involved. But I can assure you now, I'm deeply involved. But the key thing is that when you've got a $300, $400, $500 million life insurance policy, and you're looking at how to divvy that up, there's different ways that you can do that. Give your heirs a tax-free inheritance, and at the same time, support your charitable organizations, which we hope would include MGFA. Slide, please. And then we already talked about the gifts of stock. Now that is critically important, and I implore that you look into that, especially given the tax backdrop that we're looking at right now. And then we already discussed the charitable IRA rollover. Now there is also a tab on this as you go through the planned giving site itself. You will see a site for professional advisors. When you download that particular document, it will be able to give anyone you're working with, whether it's a broker, such as myself, I'm a financial advisor, an attorney, CPA, or so forth. It will give them all of the language, all of the instructions, all of the addresses, information, routing numbers, everything that any professional advisor is going to need to facilitate your gift. So before the national conference, if you're looking at more detailed estate planning, if you're looking for things to get involved to help support this organization and the good really good work that they're doing. You've seen a lot of those examples already tonight. And most importantly, the research. So normal guys like me, or used to be normal, don't have their lives turned upside down because you get diagnosed with MG. Those things can help be put in place. So next slide, please. So if you have any questions, we can walk you through this step by step. Just contact the Vice President of Development, Craig. You have his email and his number right there. He works with his staff. He's got volunteers such as myself. And please be advised, even though you see the name of my firm is Stiefel, not Stifle. You know, that seems to be a common issue, but our founders, we're a large corporation. We're the 7th largest brokerage firm in the world. However, our founders were Scandinavian and doesn't translate well, especially to us here in Texas. So, but nonetheless, we know how to take care of business. But I am an MGFA volunteer. That means that even though you see Stiefel behind me, you're not going to get a sales pitch on do this, do that. I'm here to help support this organization. Not only for all those that are afflicted, but for myself as well and my family. So if you have any questions concerning that, I implore you to contact Craig. He'll get in touch with someone like me, and we'll get your questions answered, and we'll walk you through step by step on what you need to do. In the meantime, I look forward to my presentation and working with everybody during the national conference. And I hope we have lots of questions and good conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you so much for talking to our community about planned giving. And we really look forward to your session during the national conference. And certainly thank you for committing to that as well.
Thank you.
So now we're going to talk about donor impact and what does that mean exactly? And we have a wonderful person to share with you what that means. I'm going to introduce Caroline Gaylor. She's our Director of Development. She's new to the team in recent months, so we're really excited to introduce her to the community. So Caroline, I'm going to hand it over to you now.
Thank you, Sam. Good afternoon, good evening. I'm Caroline Gaylor. I'm the new Director of Development here at MGFA. I started here, as Sam mentioned, really recently, so about 2 months ago in February. And really my role is to connect donors with impact. So what does that mean exactly? I'm kind of going to go through that as I talk about enhancing the donor experience. You might hear a development director and think of somebody more traditional that's raising money, and that certainly is part of my job. But more importantly, I and myself and the rest of the team at MGFA kind of see my role as the person that's here to help be a resource for our donors and connect our donors with the impacts they want to make in the MG community. So as we start to talk about the donor experience, donors are critical to the sustainability and growth of MGFA. And so from that, we have been doing an amazing job of building relationships with our donors, and we've continued to invest in staff resources, other resources to continue growing and building those really successful relationships. The more relationships we have, the better our relationships are. And that's why I'm really excited to be part of this team, is to really be someone that's here to focus on those relationships and helping connect donors to impact. So the how of how we're doing that, we are learning why our donors give and what makes them passionate about MG. Again, connecting the dots between how our donors want to make an impact and our mission, and then also communicating in a very donor-centric way. So communicating with the donor in the way that's best for you. So a couple of ways that we might do that, it might be by traditional snail mail, phone, email, or it could be via video through our new platform, Grativid. So some of you may have already received a video from me, or you will be in the future, but Grativid is our new platform for donor stewardship. And so if you get a video in your inbox that has my face on it, kind of like this picture right here, please open it. It's probably a personal video directed just towards you. It might be an event invitation. It might be about your gift that you made and the impact that it's making. So please open those. We're really excited about this platform and really looking forward to connecting with our donors in the way that's best for them. Next slide, thank you. Another new thing that we are doing at MGFA is our giving circles. So these are a way for our team at MGFA to connect, engage, and learn directly from our donors who invest in our mission. So we think of donors really and truly as investors in our mission. We have 5 different giving circles, starting at $1,000, going all the way up 10,000 plus. We also have our Ellsworth Society. So if you're interested in making a planned gift or talking about it, you could become part of the Ellsworth Society. And then we also have our Teal Society. So our recurring donors, our sustainers, anybody making a gift monthly can be included in that Teal Society. And these giving circles really just allow for our investors, our donors, to have an open dialogue with our team so we can hear from you, really just connect with one another and be more involved in the mission. And some of the benefits that the giving circles offer, one is our insider call, which is actually coming up on May 6th. So there's still time to join a giving circle and be part of that call. Special recognition in our annual report, invitations to additional giving circle only events, and then detailed and specific information about the impact of your giving. So that's that personal relationship that myself or somebody from our team will have with you that really talks to you one-on-one about how your gift and your philanthropic investment is making a difference in our mission. So we're really excited about it. So if you are looking for a way to get more involved and more plugged in through your philanthropic investment, these giving circles may be a really great way to get started with that. So if you're interested in learning more about how to make an impact, you may have heard from me already, or you may be hearing from me in the future, but please feel free to reach out. Also, if you're interested in joining a giving circle, we're really excited about those and have just launched them. So please email me or call me anytime, or you may be hearing from me if you've already made a significant gift, just so we can be sure to thank you and invite you to join one of these giving circles. So we're really excited. Thank you so much. And now I'll turn it over to my colleague, Sam.
Thanks, Caroline. So in the same way that everyone can help with advocacy and with June Action Month, everyone has a birthday. So I'm sure by now you've probably all heard about our MGFA Birthday Club. If you haven't signed up yet or haven't even heard about it, you can go to the myasthenia.org website and look for the Birthday Club banner to join the club. And with that, you'd be celebrating your birthday by fundraising for the MGFA. So after you've signed up for the Birthday Club, this is what I really want to share with you. We have a new MGFA Birthday Club app. So you'd want to go to your mobile device's app store and download the MGFA Birthday Club app, which is titled MGFA B-Day Club. That's what you'll want to look for in the app store. Get that downloaded, and then you can use that from your mobile device, your phone or your iPad, whichever it is that you use, and you can engage with your friends and family through any social media way that you want to engage with them. You can use email, you can text, you can use WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, or LinkedIn. And any money that's raised through any of those different social media platforms will actually roll up to your Birthday Club webpage. So it's a new exciting tool that we have. You can also upload a photo, and there are some really fun graphics that you can use on your photo too in your messaging. So we're just trying to make fundraising easier and more fun for all of you. So if you haven't done so yet, please go to the App Store, check it out, register for the Birthday Club, and download that app and get started. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email or by phone, and I'd be happy to help you out. So thanks for your time this evening, and have a good night. Sam, back to you.
Back to me. I think that could be my all-time favorite line. Everybody has a birthday. So we talked about advocacy, and we talked about helping to raise awareness for Awareness Month, and then Sam talked about the Birthday Club. So there are some easy ways to get more involved should you wish to. And I hope that there are some other things that we talked about tonight that certainly might give you pause and might make you think a little bit about, maybe I didn't think about that, or I had never heard about that before. So we just really appreciate you tuning in tonight and for spending an hour with us. And we certainly appreciate the support that you continuously give as a community. We just love this partnership with our MG community. And we'll look forward to the next town hall. And we certainly wish you all, as I said at the beginning, a wonderful spring. We'll stay in close touch. We love that you guys reach out, continue to email us and call us and tell us what you want to hear about and talk to us about what you're thinking. And just thank you so much. And everyone have a great night.